What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're talking about a very affordable clone of one of the best fragrances Creed has to offer. We're talking about Creed Aventus Cologne. So what if I told you could get pretty close to the scent profile? I mean, you know what fragrance we're talking about. It's in the thumbnail, it's in the title. It's Reyane Tradition's Insurrection Pure 2 Sport, or Insurrection 2 Sport, I believe is technically the full name. Lovely color of the bottle, but this is a pretty accurate depiction for the most part, and I want to talk to you a little bit further about this one, so stay tuned. So as far as presentation, I don't have the box anymore. It is the best looking one because of the color of the glass. It's this turquoise meets sky blue oceanic type of color and tone. It says Insurrection 2 going down the side. Just like with the rest, has the Reyane Tradition logo. Paris for Man. Does hold into place, but still not always the best option to hold it like that. You have the Reyane Tradition logo on top. The atomizer, and the atomizer does put out pretty well, as you can see. Let's talk about this scent. So when this opens, it's almost the same note breakdown. There are a few notes omitted, but you're going to get the orange, pink pepper, ginger combo right away. Even though they don't list ginger, I still get that crisp ginger spiced smell. I think this has a larger dose of something. Like, even though this it doesn't have it in the notes, I still get a similar smell to it, even if it's not actually ginger's not actually in here. This does have ginger and it's very prominent, but the pink pepper orange and like this slightly earthy meets woodsy vetiver feel is the dominance of this scent profile. Now, I don't get a lot of the tonka bean. There's a little bit of a powdered sweetness, but it's just a little bit. So if you're not a huge fan of tonka bean, at least on my skin, it's not a hefty dose, but there is a nice earthy tone. That's the vetiver patchouli combo that's going to do that to you. And the pink pepper livens up that earthy tone. So there's a vibrance with this light, sweet, more aromatic spice. It's more of an aromatic spice than a sweet spice with the pink pepper oil that they used in here. I would say, as far as a percentage, I would say this is 85 to 90% the smell of this. Now, the quality, worlds apart. This is a much higher quality smell, as you would expect. It's much more expensive. They use much higher quality raw materials, but for low $20 price point USD, this is incredible bang for your buck. If you've ever sampled this like this and just can't fathom spending the money on this, this is your best alternative. I haven't tried a bunch of, alternatives, inspirations, clones for Creed Aventus Cologne, but I can tell you this one is great. I put the full stamp of approval on this. It's a very similar smell. My wife loves the way this smells. I enjoy both, but she actually prefers the added freshness because this isn't as spicy as what it's cloning. This is much more spicy. That's why I was saying, even if this doesn't have ginger, it smells similar to this, but this has a hefty dose of ginger, adding a more dense, creamy spice to it. That's a slightly creamier fragrance, whereas here it's more earthy and woodsy overall, with a bit more aromatic tone to it versus Creed Aventus Cologne. It's a lovely smell. It's very fresh. It's a year-round fragrance. It's one of their better offerings that they've ever put out. It's much better than Pure 2. It's a better clone to Aventus Cologne than Pure 2 is to Aventus. Now, they have others in the Pure line that smell closer to Aventus or just smell like better fragrances as a whole, but as far as replicating and doing justice to Aventus Cologne, this nailed it. Now, as far as performance, this is where you got to temper expectations. It's anywhere in the 4 to 6 hour range is what I've been getting from it. I have clocked it as low as 4.5 hour range, as well as up to about 5.5 hours, 6 hour range. I would say 5 hours is kind of the happy medium. That's why I give the range of 4 to 6. So about 5 hours. Low 20s, I mean, I wouldn't expect some beast anyway. I know there's $20 fragrances out there that are nuclear performers. I understand that. I get it. But the freshness of this scent profile, I guess, doesn't lend it that level of performance. Now, some people may get, great performance out of this. I get average to slightly below average in longevity. projection, about a solid hour of arm's reach projection, and then it starts to sit a bit closer to the skin with more of a moderate to mild sillage, where, for a few hours you get a pretty light whiff. It'll remind you it's there, and then it becomes, pretty close to the skin. I would say after about 4 hours, it's pretty close to the skin, bordering a skin scent. Depending if it's super hot outside and you're out and about, yeah, it's probably going to be a skin scent in 4 hours. Might burn off your skin even sooner than that. It depends on your skin chemistry with these fragrance oils. But for me, it's overall average to slightly below average in performance, but not something I would call super weak. I would just say it kind of hovers in that average range of what can be expected from this type of scent profile. Final thoughts on Insurrection 2 Sport, the Creed Aventus Cologne clone. I think it's a very good fragrance. It's a great representation overall of Creed Aventus Cologne, which this and Viking are my two favorites from the house. I say this is every bit of a 7 out of 10 fragrance. Now, had it performed a little bit better, its score would have been in the 8s for sure, because the scent alone is an 8.5 out of 10. This smells great, but the overall score obviously takes a little bit of a hit because most would find this to be lackluster performance. I'm totally fine with it. I have no problem refreshing. I'm a situational fragrance kind of guy in the first place. Situational and seasonal through and through. That's my style. That's how I roll when it comes to choosing a fragrance. So I have tons of use for this. Big fan of this one. Wife's a big fan of the way it smells. I think very good is indeed a very good rating for this one. So yeah, in my scale, 7 out of 10. Well, that's my thoughts and feelings on Reyane Traditions Insurrection 2 Sport, the clone of Creed Aventus Cologne. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback. And I love hearing from you guys. How many of you tried this? What do you think about it? Are you a fan or are you not a fan? Is it mediocre? Is it a pass for you? Is it regrettable? Is it a super cheap hidden gem in your collection? I'd love to know what you guys think. I'll try to have a link down below for anybody that's interested in picking this up. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on Insurrection 2 Sport from Reyane Tradition and you give it a spray now, there's always that chance you might thank me later. Have a good one, guys.